Hi, good evening. This is your friend Han here. It is great to see you here tonight, and happy Mother's Day. And I want to wish all the mothers out there have a great day today. Today is your day, and hopefully you spend some time with your families, your mother or your son or daughter. Have a great time with it. Okay. All right. So tonight I have something very very exciting to share with you, and this time is for my offline friends. And the number one complaint or fear or whatever you call it of offline is cold calling, and people just don't want to pick out the phone to call the stranger. Says slam the phone at your face, right? I totally understand that. So in the past, I have introduced other products that kind of solve this problem, but this one, I think, out of all the ones I have recommended so far, is absolutely the best one because you don't even have to pick out the phone to call now, and you can just quote unquote hire people to do it, and then you don't have to pay a dime until the deal is closed. Isn't that sweet or sweet, right? That's freaking awesome. And the name of the product is called the Cold Call Militia. You can see over here. It is made by Andrew, who is currently use the system. In fact, this is his system to have an army of cold caller. That's why I call militia, making phone calls for him and save up his time and money to grow his business. And if you want to learn how to do it, watch the interview, okay? And get this product tomorrow. It's gonna be a very very affordable price. So yeah, for now, just get paper and pen ready, and I already took a whole bunch of notes here, and learn how he does it. He literally he started out making cold calls. Now he doesn't have any more. He has four people work for him. Now he's getting more clients, make more money, and the best thing about it, he doesn't have to cold call anymore, right? And he also gonna teach you some other awesome offline tips as well. How to, once you get a client, what are you going to do with it? How do you upsell, how to cross sell, how to make even more profit for you. So lots of great content in this interview, and of course inside the course as well. So this is your friend Han, and thanks for watching. And until next time, keep smiling and enjoy the interview. Cheers. Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your friend Hannah again. It is great to see you here. And today I'm very, very excited to introduce excellent offline marketer. His name is Andrew. And he's going to teaching us to solve the number one fear and number one problem that is for any offliner, that is cold calling. So he has figured out a system not only save him tons of time and tons of money, and able to actually leverage his business in a bigger scale. And he's going to share that how he did it, and of course he's going to share cold calling tips that as well, and among other offline tips. And I'm actually let him go into more detail in the interview. But before we do all that, let's kind of learn who Andrew is, how he got started with the internet marketing, but most importantly, what did he do to become very successful at what he does right now. So Andrew, could you kind of take over the mic and share with us your unique internet marketing story with us today?
Sure, absolutely. Well, first of all, Han, thank you for having me. I really appreciate your time, and happy to be here. So, pretty much how I got into the whole internet marketing thing, and then consequently or subsequently offline marketing. I was actually about 3 or 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago, working in a recording studio actually in New York City. That's where I'm from. And it actually closed down, and I was just married, so I had a lot of bills to pay, as you know, and and pretty much I lost my job. The studio closed down, and at that time the music business, and it still is, sort of really on a decline, and so I had to find something else to do. The way that I stumbled onto internet marketing, actually, I was in a Barnes and Noble on 86th Street, actually, right down the street from where I live. And, I found the book, The 4-Hour Workweek, Tim Ferriss, and that really opened my eyes to the possibility of, making money on the internet and, creating products, and is what I got out of it. But the whole freedom thing and living on your own terms, which is always something that really, I always wanted to do. I never wanted to be in a corporate job, 9 to 5, everything like that. And so I always wanted to do something different, and that really struck a chord with me that this whole thing is possible. And then probably about a couple months after that is when I stumbled onto the Warrior Forum. I didn't know really the first thing about internet marketing, so just like everyone else, I went through a forum. I, tried to learn things, tried a whole bunch of different things, bought tons of products, and it really, I was, sort of struggling and just, spinning my wheels like, people often do when they first start out, and really, at that point, I was still, not making any money really. I hadn't really found anything that worked for me. And it's not until I really started to, I said, Andrew, you just have to pick one thing and pick one thing and do it until it works. Because I knew that people were making it work. It's just a matter of I didn't have the focus and I wasn't focusing on one thing. So I did have, like, way back in high school, I did have some sales experience. And so working with, doing business to business stuff. So I was like, all right, I can have no problem contacting businesses, and offline just seemed to make sense for me, So I really dove in on that. I just picked up the phone, started calling businesses to do, mobile website stuff, to do SMS marketing, all that stuff. And that's really, I just kept calling and calling and calling until I got a good system down, and people finally started saying yes. It took a lot of work and a lot of effort, but So it took a really long time, and a lot of hard work and testing, and that's really how I found my first success. And ever since then, I really haven't looked back. I have a bunch of clients. I have 4 employees that work with me right now. On my offline business and everything like that. So I have,
And that's what's the beauty about your system is, first of all, you overcome the, fix the fears, cold calling. Secondly, you're leveraging it. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. And secondly, you are earning a passive income here as well. So, and it's pretty awesome. And
yeah.
And you mentioned a 4-hour work week. Actually, that's the book got me started as well. So I think you wrote the book and changed a lot of people's life.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so, and then I think people in the normal world, they don't even know all this stuff are possible for outsourcing and all that great stuff. So, what was that one thing and kept you going? And after you lost your job, or and maybe you're buying a WSO after WSOs.
Yeah.
What kept you want to focus just on one thing? And also, you obviously mentioned you tried many times to not have a client yet. But what's that one thing that kept you going to finally achieve a level of success today?
The one thing that really kept me going, well, there were probably 2 things. One, that I knew that there were people that were doing it, and I like to think that I saw people just like me that were achieving the results that I wanted. So I knew that it was possible, and that's really like that. Once it was in my head and I saw that other people were doing it, I was like, there's no way that I can't do this. I can absolutely do it. If there are other people out there just like me that are doing it, there's if they can do it, I can do it. So, and really, it just, as far as the focus and really, continuing to work on that, that was something that, one of the really first products in offline that really resonated with me and helped me out a lot was from a good buddy, Adam Nolan. I'm sure you know him. He was one of the, so that was his advice that he really gave, and back then a couple years ago, that really just focus on one thing, whatever it is. So that's sort of, and I saw that he was doing, he was having the results that I wanted to have, and he really, has helped me in my business, and that's sort of, stuck with me, so I really wanted to emulate people that were doing, what I wanted, and, that's sort of what got me through it, and obviously out of necessity too, because, I needed to provide for my family. I really didn't have any other choice, so.
Right. Yeah, and I think I found 2 characteristics with all the people I interviewed so far, and I did a lot of interviews, is that people who stay focused and who people either get pushed against the wall, has nothing, failure basically is not an option, and or people just have the really good drive to become successful no matter what, and those are the people I see they become very, very successful, and I think certain personality type really gets you where you want to be. So let's talk about offline marketing a little bit. So what was that? If someone just getting offline marketing, what would be one or two of the biggest mistake maybe perhaps you made or perhaps someone else made it? They should totally avoid. Specifically? Let's talk about maybe they want to pick up a phone, do a cold calling. What's the things maybe they should do or should say, should not do? Can you kind of jump in?
Absolutely. Yeah. So first of all, I mean, contrary to what a lot of other offliners think, cold calling actually, in my experience, and I can't speak for everyone, but this is what worked for me. Is cold calling was the fastest and easiest way for me to get clients. Now I know that might scare a lot of people because you maybe lack the confidence or think that you lack the confidence to do it, and really. It's all about a mindset, because you have to go in, people are afraid of hearing no, right? And that's a common, big thing when you're out contacting clients, especially when you're new and you really haven't done it before. So you're afraid of that word no.
Right.
So it's really like a mindset thing that you just really want to get it into your head. Like, what's the absolute worst thing that can happen if I hear the word no? I just hang up and go on to the next one. And you've probably heard this before too. Every no that you hear is just one step closer to the yes, right?
Yeah.
So it's really, especially with calling and contacting businesses, even more so when you first start out, it's really all a mindset thing that you just have to say, it doesn't matter how many no's I hear, I'm going to get to that yes. It's just a matter of how many times it's going to take me to get there. So really having persistence and not being afraid to hear no or to hear all these objections. But, getting back to it, cold calling really is just, you don't have to wait. You're taking action. You're being proactive and going out there and getting business, which is always, in my opinion, the way that you should be doing things. Go out there and take it, not really sit back and wait passively for people to come to you,
So can you share us, how do you get to the, escape the operator or secretary, get to the decision maker?
Sure. Yeah, that's another big thing too. The approach that I take, and one that's really worked well for me, is I first start with a pattern interrupt, and overall in general, I take a very I don't take a salesy approach at all. So the way that I do things, and this is a line that I use pretty much all the time, is instead of just when someone answers the phone and they say, hi, this is, XYZ business, how can I help you? I won't go right into, hi, this is Andrew, I'm, looking to see if you need a website or anything like that. I'll say, hi, can you hear me okay? I say that totally not expecting it. It lowers their guard, and it's a pattern interrupt, and it also, what it gets them to do is it gets them to say yes immediately. Right? Because they can hear you, say, yeah, go ahead. So they say yes, and it sort of lowers their guard, and they're not really expecting, to be pitched on something. Then from there, another thing that really works, excuse me, my phone is on. Sorry. No, I have my phones on. The next thing that I do is I always, and we can, what I usually sell or try to sell over the phone and mobile websites. So I'll say something to the effect of, I was looking on my phone and I wanted to see how late you guys were open today, but for some reason, your website wasn't working on my phone. And then what they'll say, I won't say anything about, trying to sell them something. They'll answer my question and say, oh, sorry about that. We're open till 11 o'clock tonight. And I'll say, oh, okay, great. So it's sort of like I'm like looking to, as a customer, and then I'll say something to the effect of, by the way, I happen to work, at a web design company, and I think I know what the problem is with your website, and it's a pretty easy fix. Does the manager have like 2 seconds, to talk? And what that does is it really I've already let their guard down as if I'm going to be a customer or I'm interested in their, coming to their business. So, and that just makes it more likely to, it's sort of taking the approach I'm there to help them, and it just, oh, by the way, you know what I mean? And oftentimes that's sort of, it's like a very passive, sort of sales process, very soft. and oftentimes, I'll be able to get to speak to the owner right there on the spot. Okay, I'm not really, yeah.
So
Go
let's
ahead.
say out of 10 times with that technique, what is your typical success rate? Like maybe.
As far as getting to the business owner, yeah, I would say like between like 25 to 35%, somewhere in that.
That's pretty high.
Yeah.
That's pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found that like because businesses are always getting called. If they're listed, they're getting called by people trying to sell them things, right? So if I totally go the opposite way and just take it down a notch and just really act first like I'm a customer, which there's nothing wrong with doing that. It's not like unethical at all. And then just pointing out that, hey, I think I might know how to fix your problem. If the manager has a few minutes, I can really tell them it's an easy fix. So it's very low pressure. And then even when I talk to the business owner too, I'll sort of take the same tact as well as like, look, your phone isn't working properly on a mobile device. I think I can very easily fix it. Do you have time to talk about it now, or maybe down the road? Can I send you something? Just sort of take that tact, and it's worked really well. Ever since I've been doing it.
So once you get the decision made, do you actually going to right straight to the sales pitch, or do you schedule an appointment, or do you try to grab the email address so they can follow up later?
Yeah, it depends. Like I'll sort of I'll sort of repeat. Once I get to the decision maker, I should have said this when we were talking about getting past the operator. Mm-hmm. I'll always make sure that I get the operator's name. Because they usually say, hi, this is, so-and-so, how can I help you, right? Mm-hmm. So let's just say their name was Jane. When I actually get to the business owner, what I'll say is, let's say his name is David, and he says, this is David, how can I help? Oh yeah, hi David. First of all, I just wanted to let you know it was a pleasure speaking with Jane on the phone, and she really helped me out. And the reason I wanted to speak with you real quick is that I was trying to find your hours on your website on my phone, and your website isn't working on my device. I think I know what the problem is. It's a pretty easy fix, something like that. So that's another little subtle pattern interrupt, telling them that it was a pleasure speaking with the receptionist and everything like that. There's something that when you're being sold, no one really says that, right? So I try and find things that will sort of it's like a pattern interrupt that will take them off of take their guard down, you know what I mean? So that's another thing that works really well. And then once the way that I do it is, were you aware that your phone is, or your website isn't working properly on smartphones? And then I'll just stop and let them respond, and then sort of feel them out. And if they're like, no, I didn't really know about that, I'll sort of educate them first and then tell them how they can easily fix it. That's the ideal situation. Sometimes I ask for their email address. I can send you, a little more information. It all depends, and there's a lot of different variables that go into it. But that's the best way that I've had success is just taking a very low pressure, no pitch, like aggressiveness or anything like that, and it's worked out pretty well.
So, this is gonna be an interesting question. What's the worst thing can happen when someone doesn't want your service? I think if somebody can find out there really isn't much bad thing happen, and then more likely they got a cold call.
Yeah, the absolute worst is that, they maybe say a nasty word or two to you and hang up the phone, Really, it's a thing, the whole thing, sticks and stones may break my bones, so words will never hurt me, right? So, I mean, if that's the apps, it happened to me a couple times, but I mean, it's whatever. That you don't want to work with someone like that anyway, right? If they're that nasty, right? So, I mean, it's all the way you frame it, and, the outcome, it really, they've hung up, and you don't want to work with someone that's nasty like that anyway, right? So you just move on to the next one. There's plenty of good people out there that will have, as long as you make them aware of what the problem is, and you can provide a good solution, that's, you can get business all day long.
Right. And have you find a specific time throughout the day, the best time to contact them?
Yeah.
they're more likely to answer the phone?
Sure. Well, I mean, you got to think. It really depends on the type of business. So let's just say we're talking about a restaurant, right?
Okay.
Um, the times when they're going to be not busy is in between lunch and dinner. So that's usually between 2 and 4 o'clock, right?
Right.
So those are always good times to call. Also it could be between breakfast and lunch, depending on what time. So, typically people come into a place to eat breakfast, early in the morning, 7 to maybe like 9 o'clock, and then they're off to work. In between there's a lull between, breakfast and lunch, which may be 11:30 to 2. So you want to just think, when is this place most likely to be busy, and then call on the times when they're not going to be busy,
Right.
So maybe another example would be like like a hair salon, right? So typically I could foresee after work is probably when it's pretty busy. Yeah, and around the same time when people are at work, that's probably a good time to call that place.
Right.
During the week. So you just really want to think about when's this place going to be the least busy, and then call them at that time, because that's the best time. You can, when they're not busy, then they'll have more time to listen to what you have to say.
Okay, we're gonna get into the detail of your product in the next couple of minutes, but first, can you kind of just generally tell us the concept of the system that you figured out, and that you no longer had to personally cold calling. In fact, you really just leveraging to the max range. Just kind of talk about general concept with us. How did you do it? How did you pull off? What was the aha moment that made all this happen?
Absolutely. Well, when I first started, I was doing this as a one-man show all by myself. That means everything from finding leads to contact, calling those businesses, and then, following up with those businesses. And then once I got clients, I had to fulfill the services and then also follow up. So it was getting really hectic. And as I started getting more and more business, I just had
time in the day, right?
Yeah. There was not enough time in the day.
Yeah.
So I sort of took a step back and sort of analyzed my business and really thought, like, what is taking up the most time in my day, and what is something that I can have someone else help me with. And it turned out that prospecting and making calls was taking up a significant chunk of my day. So what I did was I pretty much found someone with, went out to find someone with sales experience that could make my calls for me. And even better, I was able to find someone, and now multiple people, that do it on a commission-only basis, meaning that they only get paid when I close a deal that they've referred.
Right.
So it works good for a cash flow standpoint, because you're not, paying someone hourly. I know, especially for a lot of people starting out, they don't really have, a cash, a lot of money to be, paying someone, to work, as an employee. So I found that was, it really worked for me as far as cash flow, but also, when you're starting out, you can get people to do this for you to and that's really the hardest part in offline, right, is, contacting the businesses. It's what a lot of people struggle with. So what my whole thing is, I like to focus on my strengths, and that was one of my strengths, but this is some advice really, is that if your strong suit isn't contacting and making cold calls, it's better to just find someone that can do it for you and just pay them a little, a percentage of every deal that they close. And there's plenty of people out there that will do that for you, happily do that for you.
Can you explain the psychology behind these people? Why do they want to do that? I personally think it's the way you structure your commissions.
Sure. Yeah. Well, a couple things that all of my people, they do it on a part-time basis, usually to supplement their income. Sometimes, let's face it, it's a really bad economy. People, the unemployment rate is really high. So there's people out there that are really hungry too. Two of my people that I have that work with me, they didn't have a job, and they do this for me, like, almost on a full-time basis, like about 20 hours a week or so. But for cold calling, that's a lot, right? So, they're doing this as their only source of income, and it's because they're good at it, and they can, and they need the money, right? So they have the drive, they have, the passion to go out there and actually, get business. And then most importantly is, as you mentioned, the commission structure that I offer is a 20% of any sale, and that's for the lifetime of the customer. What I do is I have them go out and sell mobile websites, which are, I sell for $497, and then also a $75 a month, maintenance fee. So my callers are getting 20% of every customer that they bring in. Plus, once I have them as a customer, I'll upsell them additional services such as, social media management, lead generation, video marketing, which they'll also get 20% of all of that stuff for all of the customers that they bring in. So I like to treat them well, and it motivates them to go out and get more business. So that's really, what I found works best. And again, the beauty is you don't have to pay them upfront or for their time. You're paying them for results, which is really, what motivates them to do well.
Yeah, I bet by doing this way, you save a lot of time and money in the long run, because a good lead, the lifetime value of the customer is a lot of money.
Absolutely.
If you look over the period of time of a year, I don't think a lot of people understand lifetime value of the customer. So let's talk about and how is this. Let's talk about the specific about the product now. So let's talk about the launching time and the product name, and who's going to be really benefit from learning this course, and what is going to cover, what they're going to learn from the front end offer, and let's talk about the OTO as well, and the price point, and zone diamond sale, and how long going to keep open, all that stuff, please.
Cool. So the product is called Cold Call Militia. The militia, obviously, I picked that name because I almost have like a little small army of people that are making cold calls for me, right? So that's sort of the inspiration behind the name. And it's launching on Monday, May 13th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
So it's going to be on forum special offers.
Okay.
And pretty much this is perfect for anyone who's into offline or wants to get into offline, be it if you're brand new and are struggling to get clients. This is the perfect course for you, because this is really what really jump-started my business. Took a lot of time. I got a lot of time back out of it as well, and I have people that are actively out there making calls for me and getting business. And in this product, I show you exactly how to replicate that, how to build your own little team of people that will go out, make calls for you on a commission-based only basis, and how you can, build up a really nice client base in a very, pretty short amount of time. I take you through, the course is mainly videos, and I also give you the scripts and templates that we use and everything like that. So I take you through from anywhere from posting the ad online to interviewing and selecting the right employees that respond to your ad, how to interview them, what to look for as far as in their resume, what's, things that have worked well for me, how to interview them, what questions that you want to be asking, and then everything as well from finding leads, how to give them leads to contact easily, and then finally the scripts that they use. These are the exact scripts that my callers use. We sort of touched on it a little bit earlier, but this is the full thing. How to handle objections and how they handle objections and everything like that. So it's a full-blown course. I dive really deep into this whole process that I've developed over the last 2+ years doing this, and it's perfect for those that are in offline that want to really jack up their client getting and finally start getting some traction in that area.
And the beauty about it is you don't have to pay them anything in the front. You can test. If they don't make any sales, you don't really lose anything.
Yeah, typically what I do is I'll start when I hire someone new, I'll give them like a 1, maybe 2 week trial to make sure first that they're comfortable doing it, because you want them to be motivated and okay with the job too. And then second, to see what kind of results that they're getting. So that's, and yeah, you don't have to pay them up front. And believe me, that might sound a little crazy, but plenty of people, there's plenty of people that are happy to do this. And I show you exactly how to attract those people, how to get them to respond to your ad. The ad is very transparent. It says exactly what you're going to be offering and what they're going to be doing. So you're not getting, a whole bunch of spam or people that are, complaining that you're not going to pay them. And believe me, there's plenty of people that are out there, that will do this and gladly do it. And, you can build up a couple people very quickly and, really start doing some damage out there.
Yeah, and I like the beauty of this. It's almost thinking it's almost like you're an insurance salesperson. Once you sell it one time, they get a residual income come in. So that's to a salesperson, that's a huge attraction. Because if you think about, as a real estate agent, for example, which is what I was, and you sell one house and you never have to deal with another house for 5 years, because typically people don't buy another house for another 2 years. But when you have residual commission come in, that's a huge motivation for me as a salesperson to go after that. So it's very, very attractive. And I like how everything, it's almost like, almost like a case study. You have all the scripts ready, which you probably spend a lot of money, time to testing it. That works business, and it came with this course. So I really like it. So, and I do have one more question is, why do you want to have people that work for you locally? I mean, with the internet marketing, would you, you got the freedom to choose people from different locations, area in U.S. or outside the country. Why did you pick people locally? Is it reason for that?
Yeah, I mean, I like to have the option to, like, in case, like, I'll give you a perfect example. One of the people that started as a caller for me actually has moved up and is my full-time assistant now. And she handles a lot of the, back and forth between clients and everything. So I don't have to do that myself, and I could focus on, more important things in my business. So for that reason, I wanted to because I had anticipated someone, to eventually grow into that role. So I wanted someone that was local to me that, I could sort of groom and take, as my business grew, they can grow as well within my company, and in my business. So I like to have just someone locally that I can meet up with if I need to. It's sort of just, that's sort of what I developed, and how I sort of did things. Do you have to have someone local? Of course not, but it's just it's there if you ever needed to meet up, and if someone really did well, and you can obviously you want to give them more responsibility and everything like that, so it's good to have the ability to meet up if you needed to.
I think it comes down to personal preference. Obviously you live in New York City, there's a lot of people in your city, but what if it's somebody living somewhere little tiny Kentucky, and they might not have the population of a lot of people, so that might kind of scare people to apply this method. But I think there's no reason you cannot place national ads to advertise.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just it. Like you said, it's personal preference. I do have the luxury of being in a the biggest city in the United States. I guess sometimes I sort of do take that for granted. So
yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having taking advantage of the internet, which is and this is one thing that we didn't talk about. And it's another common misconception in offline, is that you can only sell in your local area, which is absolutely untrue. Just like we just talked about, I have clients all over the country, and I like I said, we talked about a little earlier, is that I hired locally, but we sell nationally. Okay, we sell all across the country, and I encourage anyone who's watching this to do so as well, because the internet is there for at your disposal, and there's no reason why you can't sell outside of your local area.
It's only getting bigger, so we are just at kind of baby phase right now. So and there's a lot.
Right?
A lot of people still don't understand, and need really offline and business really need our knowledge. I mean, even just a little bit of knowledge, they really need it, and they're willing to pay for it because they're in the business marketing their business. Let's talk about the OTO a little bit. I think you have a silver one. I really like the webinar one. I don't think you haven't talked about that yet.
Sure. Yep. So, and by the way, the price for the front end, because I didn't mention that before, the front end price is going to be $17, and it's flat. It's staying at that for 7 days through the launch. So this launch, it'll go up after that, but we're not doing a dime sale or anything like that. So,
okay, great.
It's $17. The OTO is more advanced training. It's a 3-part. There's a couple things with the OTO. The first thing, and I think the most value, is there's a 3-part webinar series where it's more advanced training. I talk about, on one, I'm going to talk about how to upsell services once you get clients, how to turn a $497 sale into $1,000 a month recurring charge, and how I go about doing that. It's, again, congruent with my, sales approach. Is a very laid back, and there's a very easy way that I do it. So I go over that in one of them. Another one, we're going to talk about, general questions and answers. That's probably the first one that we'll do, is, because I know when you buy a new product, there's millions of questions. So I want to have, the opportunity for everyone to ask me questions and personally interact with me. So, we're probably just re-solidify the ideas and the strategies within the product itself and get any questions out of the way. And then the last 2 will move into more content and on higher level strategies as far as taking this to the next level. Aside from the 3-part webinar series, I also did 3 case study interviews of me actually on the phone interviewing people that have applied to work with me. So you'll get to hear the exact questions that I asked them live in person, how the flow of the conversation, everything like that. And I really talk about what to look for, what was good about certain calls, what was bad about certain calls, and why I picked the person that I did. So it's really live, case study information that will really, there's nothing better than really just like a live documentation of hearing something that you're going to be doing actually going on. Yeah. And I think it's really going to be valuable for your, whoever picks it up to really get that information. So that's the OTO, and that is $37, again, flat fee, and I think there's a lot of value in there for the price point, and it'll really, help take this to the next level.
Yeah, like if you want to kind of fast track to success, 100%
yeah.
The OTO. If you just want to kind of test around, just get the OTO, get it started, get the client, and then go grab his. And the upgrade, the OTO will be available. Like if you want to just test it out, get your salesperson first, and then you find you're getting clients, the OTO will be always available at that price. So I don't like to do the scarcity stuff and everything like that. It's there, want it, and then exactly. So. I do have one concern I kind of think about from my customer friend point of view is, once, let's say you get the deal, so you got a good problem now, what do you do to build a mobile site? Is that a really complex system that you had to sell? Is it hire someone else to do it?
Yeah, well, there's a couple things you can do, and that's actually, I'm glad because it sort of slipped my mind. Also on one of those webinars, I will be building a mobile website, and I'll talk about how to go and do that. It's really easy. I'm not a technical person at all. Okay. It's not like an actual website or anything like building like a full-blown website.
Okay.
Full websites are the bare essential information, right? It's only for like, you want to see, like for a restaurant, you want to see the hours, where they're located, and the menu, maybe like 4 simple pages. So I go over that. I will be building a mobile site live on one of the calls. It'll take about probably 20 minutes or so. It's really not too hard. You can also outsource that as well if you want to even get more hands-off. There's plenty of people on the Warrior Forum that can do that, do fulfillment and everything like that. I'll also touch on that in that call as well for those people that want to go that route. So.
And so I'm sorry, one last question because just kind of popped to my mind. So let's say pay the $500 for the initial cost to set up the mobile. What is for lacking for better words, excuse to keep a residual of $75? I found that interesting.
Or so how I justify that is pretty
Yeah.
much no, yeah. So pretty much, businesses, they might be changing. They're constantly changing, right? So if you
Right.
have something, to make sure that if there is any changes that need to be made, and pretty much, it's sort of like almost like a technical support thing, right? So like we want to we give them our availability to make sure that everything's okay with their site. If they needed anything changed, we can do it, pretty quickly, right? So it's sort of for that ongoing maintenance. We could also host it on our site too, on our hosting if you wanted to do that, and even charge a little bit more. You can charge a hosting fee as well, and I'll talk about that in the calls as well. But yeah, it's pretty much, in case they need any changes done, if they want to add something, take it away. If something's no longer on the menu in the case of a restaurant, or they want to add something to the menu, we're there. We can do it usually within 1 or 2 days turnaround time. So that's sort of what they're paying for maintenance,
Awesome. Did you do any price testing? I'm just kind of interesting to find out.
Yeah, I mean, like when I first started out, I did $297. That's like the lowest I went, and I've always, I did test. I tried $797. That seemed a little too high, and $497 was the nice sweet spot. It's a good price for the client. It's not too much. $500 for a local business is really,
Right.
For what we're giving them. It's something that's essential, and just getting more and more important as mobile phone usage increases daily, right? So more and more people are on their phones looking for stuff, so they need to be on there. So it's an essential thing, and $500 is a very reasonable price, and it also a good amount of money too for us as well,
Right.
and for the callers, of course, as well too.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I think offline is one that's very lucrative market to get into. Andrew, and thank you so much for spending your time here with us today,
Absolutely.
and share tons of great golden nuggets here. And for those who are still listening, I am gonna offer you guys some awesome bonuses again. So kind of look out for my email tomorrow morning, and it's gonna launch at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I'm gonna send out my early bird, do a detailed review as well on it. Just from talking to Austin right now, I think if you are thinking about get on offline on the right track, don't get into the mindset you have to do everything yourself. I mean, that's what internet marketing is all about, is you don't do everything yourself.
Exactly.
Using the leverage. And if you are scared of cold calling, well, here's the perfect solution for you. You don't have to call at all. It has script and how to hire the right people and do it for you. And what's beautiful about this system is you don't pay a dime until you see results, and it's like a win-win situation for the people who will be working for you and for you as well. Yep. And fourth thing I'm looking for is a huge profit margin there, and it's 500 even after 20% you pay to your worker. I don't know exactly the cost to build a mobile website, but I would say with the internet anything's pretty low. I mean,
Yeah. You're making a good and decent. There's a lot of profit in that.
Yeah, there's a huge profit margin there. And fifthly, you're earning a residual income. And most people that I know is once they set up the initial page, they probably not going to call you back every single month for a modification.
Yeah, no.
You're basically earning free money in a way. So I own rental property, so once it's rented out, if you have good renter, you just basically collect the rent.
Exactly.
So so with all this reason, I'm probably more I can go on and on. You should really get this, and the price. I mean, it's like $7, and it's not on diamond sale, so you can grab it during the period of 7 days, right?
Yeah. It's 17, but we're keeping it. Yeah, 17. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I mean,
sorry.
Really. And real quick, all it's going to cost you to implement this is obviously the $17 to pick it up, and then $25 for posting the ad, which is on Craigslist. So really $42, and you can have someone that's going to start working for you, or multiple people, which is really a bargain, So
yeah, I believe so. I'm glad that your partner Steph told me about it. I was like, I gotta get him on the camera interviewing him.
Yeah, well, it was really a pleasure speaking with you, Han, and I'm happy to do so. And it was really a good time. So I appreciate you having me.
All right, thank you, Angel, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, talk soon, man.
All right, bye-bye.